Hey guys, Mr. Spitzer here, getting you ready for a happy Monday. So what we're going to be doing today is in this video, I'm going to show you how to take notes in a very particular way. Now, I know lots of you guys just jot things down on paper, yada, 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 use bullet points. What I'm going to show you is something called the Cornell Notes method. Some of you may have heard of it. If you haven't, it's not a big deal. But I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to show you a little quick PowerPoint, the 5 strands PowerPoint that we got to go over for our first module this week. And then I'm going to show you how you would do that if you're going to do Cornell Notes. So if you're on the class homepage, you can go to modules, and you should all have all of this introduction and course orientation stuff done. So then you're going to go to our first unit, which is Unit 1, Colonial America. And then you're going to pick on the first thing here. It's the 5 strands of social studies. For you, it's going to show all of the stuff you have to do. Hold on, and we'll be right back here. So as you see here, it's got all of the stuff you're going to need for the assignment. It's got review the following document, my Cornell Notes method, and it's got the PowerPoint. So here is what Cornell Notes is. What Cornell Notes is, it's a model for how to take notes for classes. It was created by Cornell University, a really good university up in New York. And it's proven to really help you. I use this in college. It's great. So what you're going to do is you're either going to take a piece of paper or you can do it on your Chromebook. If you're going to use your Chromebook, I have a template you can use. You can just cut and paste it onto your own Google Doc. Whichever one you want to do, it's up to you. But you're going to divide the piece of paper like I have on my screen. So you're going to draw a line down on the left-hand side. You're going to have 2 columns up here at the top. You're going to have recall, clues, questions, and then you're going to have the place where you record your notes, and then you're going to have the date. So this box right here, the one that I have clicked on, the one that I am highlighting stuff in, that is where you will type your notes, or if you're using paper, where you will write your notes. And you record the notes by only focusing on big ideas, things that can be testable. Like I told you guys the other day, I'm not a big date guy, so dates are not a big idea. But if I say something like, Alexander Hamilton created the first national bank, that's a testable piece of content. So you would write something like that down. Or, George Washington established the norms for what a presidency looks like. You would write that down because that's a big piece of content. You wouldn't write down George Washington took a poop on December 5th, 1755, because no one cares. So it's things that can be testable. Big ideas, definitions. So if I told you the definition of social studies, the definition of economics, you would write that here. Details in this column, bullet points like I have done. Another thing you can do, and I had a girl who did this a couple years ago, she used different colors for different things. She put definitions in red. She put big content in blue. She used different colors. You can do that. And whatever you do not write word for word what I am saying or what I have put on a PowerPoint. Summarize it in your own words. Then over here in this left-hand column, you're going to write some questions. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. And those questions can be used for flashcards, Quizlets, whatever. And then out the bottom, when you're done for notes for the day, you're just going to write a quick summary of what you did for that class. Hopefully, as we go through this presentation, it'll make a little bit more sense to you. But that is how you set up your Cornell Notes. If you got questions about it, email me, text me, whatever you need to do. I'm here to answer them. So moving on to our PowerPoint. So if you're in a thing, you're going to click on the PowerPoint. Boom, it takes you here. PowerPoint presentation on 5 strands of social studies. And as this tells you, it says you're going to review and take notes. So we're going to review and take notes. First slide is going to show you how to do Cornell Notes. It's just another reminder for how to do it. And then the next slide What is social studies? Social studies is the study of how people over time have interacted with each other and their environment. In other words, how people deal with all of the crap around them. And then below it says in social studies we have 5 strands or pieces. When you think about strands, think of them as pieces or parts of something. And each of those is an area that we study in social studies. When I was going back to the University of Cincinnati to get my teaching degree, I had to pick up a couple of classes in some of these strands because I didn't have enough to teach social studies because when I first got my degree, I was a history major. So if I was taking notes, this is what my notes would look like. Social studies is the very first thing I would have written. Social studies is how we interact with our world over time. I took this right here and I put it into my own words and put it right here. How we interact with social studies is how we interact with our world over time. Hope that makes sense to you. So moving back to our slide, and you'll notice, did I take notes on this part? No, because I don't need to yet, and it's not a big testable thing. Next slide. The 5 pieces or the strands are geography, culture, history, economics, and government. If you're really wondering, when I went back to UC to get my teaching degree, I had to take a couple of geography classes because when I was getting my undergrad in history, I didn't take much geography, and I hate geography classes, so I didn't take them in college the first time. I had to take them after I was getting my teaching degree. So from this slide, the 5 strands pieces of social studies are geography, culture, history, economics, government. To translate that and to move that over to what my notes would look like, 5 pieces of social studies. Geography, culture, history, economics, and government. You'll notice I didn't write out social studies. I just abbreviated it as SS. Also a good thing to do when you're taking notes. Find your own abbreviations. Basically, it's like a little method for you to write things down quicker. So I took this and made it into this. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope so. Again, if you have questions, you can ask me. So I'm going to stop right there going through the PowerPoint because you guys can do the rest of it. It's not a difficult PowerPoint. It's pretty easy. So that's how you would take notes in this column, the record notes. Over here, it says recall, clues, and questions. You're going to take that column. You're going to create questions that you can use to study. So like my first piece of content I wrote down here was social studies, the definition of it. So all I did over here in this column is I took that and I made it into a question. What is social studies? Whoops, that's not good. What is social studies? I just made it into a question. You'll notice in this left-hand column, I didn't answer the question because it's right here. With the 5 pieces of social studies, I just made it into a question. Identify the 5 parts of social studies. These are just questions that will help me when I'm getting ready to study. The really awesome thing about Cornell Notes and what you guys are going to really like is that you can take these and you can make flashcards. You know, the good old take a flashcard, boom, write it on there, and then you can do the flippy thing. Or if you're like my own kids who are tech savvy, they like to create Quizlets. If you haven't been on Quizlet, you should. It's Quizlet.com. And so you can take and make your own flashcards, your own quizzes, your own tests, anything you want to do on Quizlet, and then you can go through them and practice them. So if I was going to take these notes and turn them into flashcards on Quizlet, I would simply copy this like I just did. I'm copying it. I go to my Quizlet and I'm going to enter the question here. What is social studies? And then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to Quizlet and I'm going to paste. And there you go. I would have had one flashcard made. That's how simple this Cornell Notes method is. It's really awesome. It's really good to do. When we get into class today for the class meet on Monday, I'm going to go through this a little bit more, walk you through it, and talk about it a little bit more. And we'll keep taking notes this way. And for the first few times we take notes, I'm going to have you, as part of what you're doing for that assignment, you're going to show me what you took for notes. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. So that is the Cornell Notes method, and that is what we're going to be working on this week with the 5 strands and taking notes this way. If you got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys a little bit later in class.